and welcome to our video on how to use eBird for the Missouri Birding Challenge. If you're new to eBird, don't worry. This will cover everything you need to know to submit and share checklists during the challenge and how to submit a final trip report once the challenge is over. These instructions are also available in a PDF format on the Birding Challenge website. Let's get started. Creating an eBird account. First, go to ebird.org. If you don't already have an account, click Create Account. Enter your name, email, and create a password. eBird will ask you about a few account preferences. Choose what you like. These can always be changed later. Once you verify your email, you're ready to begin. I already have an account, so I'm going to go ahead and sign in. Starting a checklist. There are two ways to submit your bird observations to eBird. On the eBird website, like we're doing here, using a tablet or desktop computer or your phone, or with the free eBird mobile app. The mobile app is a convenient way to keep track of birds as you observe them in real time in the field. Only select one submission method, website or mobile app. You do not need to submit eBird checklists on both. I'll walk you through how to submit a checklist on the website and then on the app separately. Now this is important. When the birding challenge is complete, each team must submit a trip report for each birding challenge category they registered for. A trip report compiles eBird checklists you've already submitted into one report that's easier for the challenge committee to review. Please note that a trip report can only be created on the website. You can't create a trip report on the mobile app. We'll learn how to create a trip report later in this video. Let's cover a few points about eBird checklists that apply to both the eBird website and the app. When you're birding on the eBird checklist, do your best to estimate the number of all individuals of each species you see. Keep a tally of individuals by species as you go. Only add birds to your checklist that you can positively identify. It's okay to leave off some birds if you're unsure what species it is, but if you know what type of bird it is, you can just add it like this, using shorebird SP or sparrow SP. Only one member of your team will submit an eBird checklist for a particular location and time, for example, Eagle Bluffs Conservation Area from 7 to 9 a.m. This team member can share that checklist with others on their team using their eBird usernames. If you finish birding at Eagle Bluffs and move to a new birding location like Three Creeks Conservation Area from 10 to 11 a.m. that morning, then you will end the Eagle Bluffs checklist and start a new checklist for Three Creeks, even if it's on the same day. How to submit an eBird checklist on the website. To enter a birding checklist, click the Submit button at the top of the screen. Next, you choose a location. You can select from your locations, from recent submissions, or find it on a map. If you choose Find It, enter Missouri for the region and select it. This will make a map pop up. You can type in the eBird hotspot name or choose a location on the map by zooming in. We're going to choose Eagle Bluffs Conservation Area. If your eBird location is listed as an eBird hotspot with a flame icon like you see here, select that as your location rather than your exact spot within the hotspot. Choosing the hotspot allows eBird to efficiently compile and track bird populations over time. For the challenge, any birding you do in Missouri counts. We'll go ahead and hit Continue for this location. Next, choose the date and your observation type. Choose stationary if you're birding from a fixed point only, traveling if you're walking on a trail or driving a loop or any sort of driving, and incidental if birding wasn't your primary activity. Say you saw a bird while you were driving and you decided to pull over and log it later. We're going to choose traveling. Enter your start time, duration, and distance traveled, if applicable. Next, type in your party size. and any comments you'd like to include about your checklist. Adding birds to the checklist. Now you can start adding birds. Use the search bar at the right to find each species you observed. The list will start to auto-populate when you start typing. Choose a species and enter the number of individuals you saw or heard. If you're not sure of the exact count, it's fine to estimate. To help eBird reviewers, use the Add Details link next to each species to note unusual numbers, or if an R pops up next to a bird, this indicates it's rare and will need some more documentation. For most lists, though, simply entering the species and the count is all you need. Going to enter the rest of the species that I saw at the site. When you've double-checked your list of birds and the number of individuals of each, click Yes above Submit if the list includes all birds you were able to identify. If this is an incidental checklist, the answer will be no. When you're done, just click Submit. How to share a checklist with another eBirder. Once you've submitted your checklist, you'll see a compiled view of your list like you see here. Click the Share box next to your name and type in the eBird username of the team member you want to add. You can also choose from your list of contacts if you've shared lists before. You can include a message to the eBird user here. Click Share Checklist. The teammate you added will receive an email to accept the checklist. You can take these same steps to share any eBird checklist after it's been submitted. Creating and submitting an eBird checklist on the eBird mobile app are the same as the website, but they look a little different on a smartphone screen. Once you've downloaded the free eBird app and signed in, click Start Checklist. The app will auto-select your GPS location. If needed, you can change this location by clicking the auto-selected location at the top. If you're birding at an eBird hotspot, which you'll see on the map, choose the hotspot to help eBird track populations over time. All Missouri birding trail sites and most public nature areas and parks are eBird hotspots. If you are at a location with no nearby eBird hotspot, you can keep this location as auto-selected as it's shown there, or name it something else. For example, if this auto-selected location is your yard, you can name it My Yard. You can change the location during the checklist or right before you submit it also. Now you can select the birds you're observing and type in the number of individuals for each species you see or hear. For example, if you see 6 house finches, type house in the search field at the top, and all the birds with house in the name will show up. You can edit the number of individuals anytime by tapping the name of the bird or tapping on the number field. If your bird is considered rare, an R in an orange box will appear next to its name, like the house wren shown here. Rare birds require additional documentation, such as a written description, photo, or sound recording. Before you submit any rare bird sighting, please be positive of the ID. You can refer to field guides or allaboutbirds.org for tips on bird ID. Rare birds must be accepted in eBird by its reviewers to be used in species totals for the birding challenge. Once you're done birding at this site and you have entered in all the birds your team observed in this bird outing, click the green Stop button at the bottom. This will stop your location track and the timer and will auto-calculate distance traveled and the time that you spent birding. You can edit distance and time prior to submission if needed. Now it's time to verify our checklist information before we submit. First, make sure the date and time are right. If not, edit by tapping the pencil icon in the top right. Check your location. If it's not correct, you can tap on the name to change it. Again, choose the closest available eBird hotspot on the map, or if you're not birding at an eBird hotspot, simply use your location or choose a spot on the map. Choose stationary if you're birding from a fixed point only, traveling if you're walking on a trail or driving a loop or through a park, and incidental if birding wasn't your primary activity, like you saw a bird while driving and then pulled over later to record it. Next, type in the number of observers. When you type in anything greater than 1 on the app, a Share Checklist button will appear for you to type in the eBird usernames of birders with you. Click Yes if the list includes all birds you were able to identify. If this was an incidental checklist, then it will automatically say no. Check to make sure all the birds you saw are on the list and the number of individuals is accurate. Add any comments that you need. Then click Submit. You did it. Submitting an eBird trip report is mandatory if your team wants to be considered for prize drawings or recognition. An eBird trip report compiles a group of eBird checklists together into one report. After your team has submitted their last checklist for the challenge, one team member will compile a trip report that includes all of your team's checklists for the challenge. You must submit a separate trip report for each challenge category you've registered for. Remember, a trip report must be created on the website. You cannot create a trip report on the eBird app. Navigate to eBird.org and log in. Click on My eBird that you see here on the top menu. Then click Trip Reports on the left side under Manage My. Click the green Create Trip Report button. The name of the trip report must include your challenge category and your team name. Select the date range you birded for the challenge. I'm going to choose the dates from last year's. Choose a visibility. Any option works. If you're not sure, choose Link Only. Click Create Trip Report at the bottom right. Now you can choose the checklist you want included for your Missouri Birding Challenge team. This page shows you all checklists that you submitted in the date range you selected. You should only include lists in Missouri where your entire team birded. You can toggle them on and off for inclusion in the trip report using the green checkboxes here. For example, if you're participating in the backyard birder category, only choose checklists from your yard. After carefully selecting the appropriate checklists, click Save and View Trip Report at the bottom. Now you can see that all of your lists are compiled, showing a species total and the number of checklists, and including a map. You're not done yet, though. You still have to share the trip report with the appropriate challenge category account and include your team name in the report. To do this, click on the Edit button on the left and click Add Narrative. It is mandatory to type in your team name and the names of all team members. You're welcome to share any other thoughts about the challenge here. Click Save and View Trip Report. Now click on the Edit button on the left and click Add People. Share with the appropriate eBird username that matches your category. I'll show you a list in a moment. Each Missouri Birding Challenge category has its own eBird username. You must share the list here with the appropriate challenge category name. Here's a list of the eBird usernames for each challenge category. This step is mandatory to be considered for prize drawings and recognition. You can also choose other folks to add to your trip report. Click Done when you're finished. Now you have to email the trip report link to the Missouri Birding Challenge email. Click the Share button on the left under your name, right here, and click Copy to copy the link. Now you can paste this link into a blank email addressed to Missouri Birding Challenge at mdc.mo.gov with a subject line that includes your challenge category and your team name. Great job! Your trip report has been created, shared with team members, and emailed to the Missouri Birding Challenge email. Make sure to check this year's Birding Challenge dates for deadlines to submit your team's trip report. And remember, you must submit a separate trip report for each challenge category you register for. How to edit a submitted eBird checklist. If you realize you made a mistake on a checklist or you need to share it with a team member, simply open eBird.org, sign in, and click My eBird. Click Checklists on the left menu here under Manage My. Choose the checklist that you want to edit by clicking on the date. You can click Share in the top left here, or edit any field of the checklist by clicking on the appropriate edit button, like here, here, or here. How to create a yard location in eBird. Creating a yard location is a fun way to organize and track the birds in your yard for the Missouri Birding Challenge and after. This step is especially helpful for any teams participating in the Backyard Birder category. To do this, submit an eBird checklist from your yard first. Here I've clicked on the Submit button. You can use the auto-selected location in the app and record the latitude and longitude points it gives you, or you can use an address that you've entered for your yard previously. Here I'm going to use this address of 1516 Windsor Street from past submitted checklists. Take note of this location by writing it down or name the location yard. Next, click on Explore at the top of the home screen and scroll down to compare your totals and click Yard Totals. Click the green Add a Yard button. Next, create a name for your yard. Next, choose the location of the checklist that you submitted from your yard. Here I'll type in the same address that I used before. The locations field, as you can see, will auto-populate as you start typing. Then click Save Yard. Your yard location is complete. Now when you submit checklists from that same auto-selected location, or if you choose the location named My Yard, it will compile all lists together into your yard totals over time. We hope this how-to video has helped you. During the challenge, just bird, create eBird checklists, and create and email separate trip reports for each category at the end. If you need more help, visit the Missouri Birding Challenge page for guides, rules, and frequently asked questions. Good luck and happy birding!